Hey, good morning. Hey, Sunday. We're about ready through the halfway of July, and we're still wondering why some of the stuff is going on. And I'm going to unpack just a question that I was actually asked several years ago of why do I believe in what I believe in? That's going to be the main topic of the sermon. There's no scriptures, nothing, but this is going to be a testimony video that why do I believe in what I believe in. So, hey, the sermon's about ready to start. I'm sitting in my back of my yard on my balcony, beautiful view, hearing some baseball practices going on, hearing some talking, hearing some people walking on some trails, normally where I have preached at in the last few weeks. Hey, it's beautiful out here in Southern California. Maybe you want to sit out in your backyard. Hopefully it's nice back there. It's a great weekend. But the most importantly, why do you believe in what you believe in? Hey, faith is greater than fear. The sermon's about ready to start. Thank you for watching. I'm glad you're still watching. Like I said, today's sermon is going to be just basically why. Why do you believe in what you believe in? And that was a question that was asked to me. Why do you believe in what you believe in? This gentleman actually asked me when I was at chaplain school back in 2014 when I was a chaplain candidate, and he asked me, he goes, Matthew, I don't want to get into any debate or anything, but I just want to ask you, why do you believe in what you believe in? And I gave him a simple answer, but I want to unpack probably what got me there. I was a baby Christian at the time, and in the church that I was attending, they actually talked about having elders of the church pray over the sick. I didn't know what that was called. I didn't even know where to find it at in the Bible. I was so baby. I didn't even know what I was doing half the time. I was raised in a different type of faith and not the faith that I'm believing in now. I went from one religion or one faith group to another. I was actually talking to a gentleman the other day, and we were talking about faith. We were just talking about Christians, and he actually had a good point, and where I might need to research a little bit more. But what he was actually saying, he goes, here in the Western world, we have different types of Christian. We have different types of Christianity. But he goes, in some other countries, you're either Christian or you're Muslim. In those other countries, hey, there's probably some noise going on around us, but that's almost the same way of our faith sometimes. So hopefully the wind, the distraction, the cars traveling behind doesn't mess up what I'm trying to deliver to you today. But that gentleman had a great point, is we all believe in different faiths. We all have different denominations. But at the end of the day, what is it? And that's where this gentleman was asking me, why do I believe in what I believe in? And I'm going to read you just one point, and this comes actually out of James chapter 5, verse 14. It says, are any of you sick? You should call for the elders of the church to come and pray over you, anointing you with oil in the name of the Lord. Such a prayer offered in faith will heal the sick, and the Lord will make you well. And if you have committed any sins, you will be forgiven. I'm just going to cover the the first part, and hopefully someday I'll actually unpack one of my other sermons, and that gives you another testimony. But calling the elders of the church, sometimes there's many of us that want to think that calling the elders of the church, that we need to actually have them come over and pray over us. And that was actually, in some of my walk, being just small in faith. One of my kids, they were having earache problems and we didn't know what to do. Going to the doctor, we turned to prayer. They anointed one of them, but she still went. You know, the question, why wasn't she healed? Isn't that supposed to happen? But then another one of my child, we got a diagnosis that he needed to get some healing, that we were actually going to have to change some of our ways of life. But what did I do was I called for some of the elders of the church to pray over us. We're actually traveling from one town to another. We're heading to the doctor's office, and this was about in 2010. And this is where it grew my faith in God, and grew my faith that you call on elders of the church and they'll pray over you. Well, in the meantime, we get this doctor's diagnosis. It was around lunchtime. We get to the doctor's office, and shortly right after the doctor's office, they hand us some formula. My wife was breastfeeding one of our kids at the time, and I actually had to deliver the news to her that she wouldn't be able to breastfeed our kids anymore. But on our way to the doctor's office, I was texting and driving, so please don't do that. But this was back in 2010, and I was lost, but we wanted to hurry up and get to the doctor's office. We had people praying for us at the time. So shortly right after we get to the doctor's office, they give us cans of formula. Mysteriously looking back at this, God had a plan for it. He didn't wake up that child at all for any feedings. The last feeding was right before lunchtime. He slept probably about 6 hours after we got the report. We got the formula. We called friends to pray for us. We actually had one of our spiritual mentors call on the phone. I pulled over on the side of the road on our way home from the doctor's office, and what is great about the spiritual mentor, he was actually in Montana at the time, and he actually stopped what he was doing right before his service, and he called us and he prayed for us. You know, I'm a chaplain, and there's many a times even in my own walk where I'm doing something, I get the phone call, and why do I believe in what I believe in? Or why do I do what I do? First off is because other people have done it for me. They have stopped their life to pray for me. They stopped their life to hear me. But going back to James, here's this mentor. He prays for us. Not only does he just pray for us in a regular language like I'm speaking to you, he prayed in his spiritual language. And shortly after that, we go home. We're mentally exhausted. We're physically exhausted, because now we're going to have to change the way of life. Even the doctor said, if I get this diagnosis back, because they were doing another test of my son, and it is tested that we're going to have to change the way we feed him and the way that our lives are going to have to be in our house. He said that he would actually come to our house to help us. Here's this doctor, not even in the same faith as me, but he's going to change the way we do things in our house. So I don't know who's around you that's actually giving you words of encouragement and words that are just going to help you along the way. Well, roughly around dinner time, this was late September, We had plans to actually go to a festival downtown, and this was messing up our plans. We were going to go see friends downtown, and here we are waiting for the doctor to give us a call if our life was going to change forever. We had people praying for us throughout the church that we were attending. We didn't need to get into a gathering to pray over my son for a healing. We had people in the community praying for us on our behalf. Our words were going to heaven, and they were actually coming down and healing our son, because roughly around 18:30, 6:30 that time, it was around that time, we get the call from the doctor, and the doctor says, hey, keep doing what you guys are doing, because the reports show that your son is able to go ahead and break down regular milk. Have your wife go back to breastfeeding. We took the formula actually back to the doctors. But what happened there? So if you actually look at some of my sermons in the last weeks, it was what if. The other one was, did God hear me? Last week was voice like a roaring lion. So even if you take those three last messages, was what if we had to change our way? Did God hear me? And the voice like a roaring lion. This week, I'm just being real with you. There was no message, but I wanted to give you a personal testimony, and maybe this might encourage you. The gentleman that I was actually talking to, he actually said he is a charismatic Catholic, and this is what he told me. He goes, sometimes we just need to hear someone else's testimony of what God did in their life to show that God's still working. I actually got set back, and I was like, wow, here's this guy not even believing the same things that I believe in half the time, and he's actually encouraging me. Why? Why do you believe in what you believe in? And that was my question that was asked to me back in 2014. And this gentleman that asked me, he's actually a Lutheran chaplain. He goes, I don't want to get in a debate. Well, I brought the story to him. This is why I believe it, because I actually saw Jesus heal my son. I saw prayers of the elders lift up my son to heal him. The greatest community that you're going to have around you is the greatest people that are going to stop doing what they are doing in life and hear your cry out and actually come in agreement with you and pray with you. That's going to be the greatest community that you're part of. Some church buildings are opening back up. We look from one coast to the other coast, from one border to the other border. There's so many different rules, but the one rule that still remains the same is that Jesus is the same yesterday, today, and forever. Our petitions, our prayers to Him might not be answered in our timing, but it's going to be answered in His timing. That's what happened in that healing of my son. Of course, we wanted it right away. We wanted the test not to be what it was, but we petitioned our prayers of faith to God. We actually had called the elders of the church. I'm repeating myself a little bit, probably it's annoying you. It's been going on for like over 10 minutes. But I'm here to tell you is, what is your community like around you? Are they willing to stop and listen to your heart and willing to pray for you? Why do you believe in what you believe in? I shared it with you. Hey, thank you for watching this 10-minute testimony that what God has done in my life. Hopefully this has encouraged you. Please like and share any of my videos. Thank you for watching.